Hey there, we're continuing our series, Overcoming the Lies Women Believe. Today I'm going to unveil the lie that if we could just change our husbands, that would fix everything. Wouldn't that be nice? The truth is, we can't change others, but we can change ourselves. And by changing ourselves, we can influence our husbands. So be empowered. There is a way forward. I'm Teagarden, and this is episode 5 of the Unveiled podcast. Being married is a journey of highs and lows and occasional potholes that stretch and grow us. I'd love to travel this journey with you as the encouraging, practical voice of a friend. So thanks for joining me. I used to hate my husband going on work trips, but then there was that time when I was hoping that he would have one soon, like really soon. I wanted a break from him. He was driving me absolutely crazy. Have you ever felt that way? I mean, yes, it is healthy to have time apart from your spouse, but not wanting to be with them at all is a red flag that something is terribly off. Well, I got my wish. He went away on a work trip. And while he was gone, I attended our Bible study group, and it happened to be doing a marriage study at the time. Honestly, I don't remember exactly what was irritating me at that time. This was a while ago, years ago, and I don't remember exactly what the lesson said. But what I do remember very vividly is becoming aware that the problem was not all with him. I was a part of the problem, and I needed to change. I was actually really miffed about that at first. It was so much easier to blame him and want him to change. My pride did not want to admit that I needed to change. After the study, I put the kids to bed and I took time to think through what was going on. It did not take any small amount of internal struggle to admit my part in the problem. But eventually, I owned it and I understood that I can only change me. I can't change him. I began to realize that if I was part of the problem, that meant I could be part of the solution. The next morning, I was excited for my husband to return home. I was able to ask forgiveness from him and address our issues from a better place than one of blaming and shaming him. I began to change, and our relationship dramatically improved after this. This truth that I can only change me has stuck with me and is foundational to my husband and I helping married couples through difficult seasons. Many of us find ourselves at odds with our spouse at least some of the time. And generally, we think it's the other person that needs to change. Well, I'm sure your husband does need to change. Okay, that's not the question, but it's not our job to change him. Only God can change people's hearts. Only your husband can change his actions. When we try to change him, we end up making him feel judged, disrespected, and nagged. Rarely does it help. However, when you change your actions or your attitude or the way you're seeing something, you will see improvement in your situation. The lie that you can change your husband will keep you stuck. You will spin your wheels waiting for him to change or trying to change him. The truth is, we cannot change other people. The only person you can change is you. Sound familiar? I will talk a lot about this in the future, but grab this truth. You can only change you. It's great news though, because you can affect change in the situation. Okay, I want to give a quick disclaimer. If you are being abused in any way, please do not think you deserve this. Please get help if your spouse is abusing you or having a problem with substance abuse. Always get yourself out of a dangerous situation. What I'm talking about here are the majority of marital issues that cause hurt or irritation to both spouses. For example, instead of complaining about little annoying habits, we can choose to overlook them or change the situation causing them. Here's an example from my life. My husband used to clean out his coffee grounds in the sink every night before bed, after I had cleaned the sink and it was nice and shiny. He didn't rinse the sink when he finished, so I awakened to a sink crusted with coffee grounds. This irritated me. Not a great way to wake up. I asked him multiple times to rinse the sink when he was done, but he didn't, many times. Okay, pause right there. My thinking was, why can't he remember to do this? It's important to me. Now, there was no harm in me asking him to do it, but clearly I wasn't going to change this habit. The truth actually was that he just didn't see the grounds in the sink. He was focused on the coffee pot. He was not trying to irritate me. He was not being irresponsible. He was just being him. So one day, I decided to follow my own advice. Well, I can't change him. What can I change? So I thought about it. Well, first, I can choose to not get upset about this. Accepting something you can't change is often half the battle. Secondly, I can either cheerfully clean the sink each morning, not get upset about it, or I can clean out his coffee grounds for him earlier in the day and rinse the sink myself before they get dried on. That will not only make me happy, but him as well. A win-win. So that's what I started doing. My husband thought it was great. There are many examples of how we can change to help a situation, and I'll go into more of those in the future. But one last thought. Can you pray for God to change your husband? Yes, you can. But not with a, God, you really need to change him attitude. Humbly ask God to help him be all that he wants him to be and open his eyes to how he needs to change. Let God do the showing and the changing. It takes a big load off of us, actually, because it's exhausting trying to fix other people. So, this week, instead of telling your husband how he needs to change, ask God to show you how you can change and see if you can find one irritation that you can help by changing your own actions or attitudes. Reject the lie that you can change your husband. Own the truth that only you can change you. Even a tiny change can have big payoffs. Galatians 6:9 says, "Do not become weary in doing good, because at the proper time you will reap a harvest." So keep doing good for your spouse. Leave the things you can't change in God's hands. Eventually, it will pay off. You'll both be happier in the end. Thank you for taking the time to listen and work on your marriage. Join me each week as we invite God to unveil our eyes to see clearly, unveil our minds to know the truth, and unveil our hearts to allow Him to heal the hurts that are there and bring joy to our marriages. Please subscribe so you don't miss anything. If this episode has benefited you, please share it with a friend and help me get the word out. Next week, we will explore the lie. If we're Christians, we shouldn't have marriage problems, right? Until then, remember, you are beautiful, you are not alone, you are enough, and you can change you.